He had a busy day yesterday. He's the NFL Network and NFL.com reporter, Ian Rapoport, who joins us on the program. What were you on, 20 hours yesterday?
I think I was only on 11 hours, but I think the network was on something like 15. It was insane.
The shocking story yesterday in free agency was what?
I think there were some things we expected. Mike Wallace signing for, $11 million. That was kind of expected. Paul Kruger. Probably Darrelle Revis signing with the Dolphins, and then the Dolphins in general. I mean, we all knew they were going to spend with Mike Wallace. They needed a playmaker, needed a big play guy, and explosive plays and all of that. But they just kept giving out money. I mean, Ellerby was really supposed to sign with the Ravens. He was probably the best player on their defense through the playoff run into the Super Bowl, and they traded Anquan Bolden to make money for him. And then, the Dolphins did their work during the anti-tampering period and just got in there and offered him $7 million that a middle linebacker rarely gets. And Dolphins swooped in, and now the Ravens are kind of left wondering what happened.
Who overspent yesterday?
Well, I guess the Dolphins would be, would probably be a good bet for that. It's rare that a team spends that much money and gets, that big of a payoff. They got good players, but I'm not sure the value is great.
So they won yesterday, but then they also lost.
Yeah, I'm having trouble now celebrating so many of these free agent moves. I mean, I think the effort was great, and I think if it works out, we're all going to say that Jeff Ireland was a genius. But the Eagles from 2 years ago, kind of stands out in my mind. But it's interesting with when you look at free agency and what teams are doing. I mean, there's so much is sort of in the eye of the beholder. It's like the Rams signed Jared Cook to a deal, a very good athletic vertical threat tight end to a deal that averages $7 million a year for a guy that has produced really nowhere near that. And so either they got a guy on the rise who's going to be one of the linchpins of their team, or they, signed a free agent bust. It's really tough to tell at this point.
If you look at the Niners and what they're doing, you get Anquan Bolden for a 6th-round pick, but you're also looking at somebody in the secondary. Is it Ed Reed, Charles Woodson? Do they go all in on Darrelle Revis?
I think there's a good chance it's Woodson. He's visiting. Actually, he's there. If he's not there right now, he's en route. And I kind of like what the Niners are doing. And I would be. I mean, they could bring in Darrelle Revis, but I would be very surprised if they did. Just talking to Niners people, it seems like that was, unless something drastically changes, it seems like that was their link to a Revis trade was more of media using sort of logic than anything else. I mean, they got a ton of picks, and they do have a need at corner. I know they're trying to sign a cornerback, but they have a really good team. They have a team with young talent, so they need to pay Colin Kaepernick. That's coming up. They need to pay Michael Crabtree. Aldon Smith needs to get paid, and then to me, it doesn't make sense, and I don't think they think it makes sense to pay Darrelle Revis $15 million. Keep your core guys, keep them happy, pay them, and then, build around with good locker room guys and sort of savvy veterans who aren't going to cost a ton of money. And Anquan Bolden and Charles Woodson, I mean, they fit that perfectly.
Yeah, there's no way I spend that kind of money on Revis for a variety of reasons. Plus, I got to, if I'm going to spend that money, my guy has his hands on the football occasionally. Revis coming off the ACL with that kind of money. And plus, nobody goes to a game to see a shutdown corner. So I'm not even getting that.
Well, yeah, Dan, and I mean, here's the problem is like, so many teams now, on offense, they spread it out. Almost everyone uses, 3 receivers, and if you don't, it's because you have a tight end, like an Aaron Hernandez or something who acts as a 3rd receiver. And so more and more now, kind of as we've moved forward with this spread offense in the NFL, if you have a shutdown corner, you can say, all right, well, I'll just go to the next guy. I'll just create a matchup of, say, Wes Welker on this linebacker, and I can ignore a Darrelle Revis for a whole game. And, it didn't used to be like that.
That's
now
he's
a great player, but
yeah.
you're almost to the point now where you can ignore him more than ever. And I'm hearing, I mean, teams do not want to pay quarterback money for, like you said, a guy who's going to be ignored.
He's Ian Rapoport, the NFL Network reporter, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. All right, rapid fire. Because of what happened yesterday, Fitzpatrick released by Buffalo. More likely to take a quarterback, Buffalo or Arizona in the top 10?
I think it's going to be Buffalo. Ryan Nassib he's obviously going to be there. I think it'll be a little bit of a reach. Syracuse quarterback. I think it'll be a little bit of a reach.
Wait, he can't go in the top 10.
He might not go in the top 10, but Buffalo could trade back and get him.
Oh, he's a second-round draft pick. He's a second-day guy.
The only I would agree, except do you want to risk losing him if you're Buffalo? He's got his college coach sitting right there. They love him, and I think Arizona is more likely to get, let's say, a Matt Castle or a Carson Palmer if he's released than a guy that early in the draft.
Okay, Carson Palmer going to be released, and then do the Raiders then look at a quarterback, or do they turn it over to Terrell Pryor?
I think probably both. I would be surprised if they took, say, a Geno Hayes with a third pick. I mean, he's, just talking to scouts, I mean, he's more of a middle-round guy, if that. Now, everyone overreaches for quarterbacks, and it's not like in the Jamarcus Russell days where...
No, you mean Geno Smith.
Geno Smith, right.
Yes,
I'm
okay.
Sorry. It's not like the Jamarcus Russell days where if you get a quarterback, you crush yourself for 3 years. If if you miss, it's... With the rookie wage scale, it's not that much of an investment. So, I think the Raiders probably will go for a quarterback in the draft. I'm just not sure it's going to be number 3.
Falcons with Tony Gonzalez back, which didn't surprise me. But I thought what was interesting is his agent was sort of shopping him around the NFL, that it wasn't a foregone conclusion. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I was told yesterday. What did you hear?
Well, I didn't hear. I did not hear anything like that. I don't think if he was shopping him, and Tom Kahn and his agent is one of the most savvy guys out there.
Yep.
So if it did create a little more money, I guess it would have worked. But everyone knew he was only playing for the Falcons, and I don't think it's always a little bit about the money because it's a job, but I don't think it was about that. I think it was more about the way they ended,
Well, I think he wanted to be
like
closer to the West Coast because I was told he was going to take a job with you guys at the NFL Network if he didn't play anymore, right?
I don't know if it would have been with us or with someone else.
Oh, come on. You're a reporter. You're supposed to know this stuff, Ian. Was he going to the NFL Network?
I don't know that for a fact.
All right, well, let me tell you that he was.
I know he was going for the Falcons.
He was going to the NFL Network, or he was going back to the Falcons. Okay, final question here with Greg Jennings. Going back to the Pack, or somebody going to grab him?
The longer he waits, the more likely that he's going back to the Pack. I mean, it's interesting because if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said he's gone, and all of us were talking about him like he's Mike Wallace. Well, I think it's obvious, he's not going to get Mike Wallace money. He's not going to get $12 million. There's some injury concerns. He's a little bit older. As his price comes down, I think it's more and more likely that he stays with the Pack.
Wes Welker. It seems like he's now, I saw the headline, free to roam.
Yeah.
This has gone back and forth here. So what exactly is Wes Welker going to stay because both sides need one another?
Yeah. I really think, unless I am crazy, which is possible, especially after yesterday, I'm not going to rule that out. Both sides need each other. He's going to test the market, but I would be shocked if he found a better market elsewhere, a team like, say, the Broncos or the Rams or something. I'd be shocked if he found a better market than the Patriots, and I would be surprised if the Patriots found a better Wes Welker anywhere else. Danny Amendola has sort of been waiting in the wings for the Patriots. He's their Wes Welker backup plan, but he's played 12 games in 2 years, and he's not Wes Welker. I really think even after all this, Tom Brady gets to play with his best friend again, and that contract that Brady works out ends up paying off.
Ian, get some sleep. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks.
Ian Rapoport, NFL Network, also NFL.com reporter. NFL Network provides live free agency coverage today. They start at 10 a.m. Eastern. NFL.com provides up-to-the-minute reports as well.